Hi everyone, എല്ലാവർക്കും നമസ്കാരം. Welcome to the very first episode of Engane undayirunu, a podcast about movies and everything movies. I'm joined today by, first of all, let me introduce my co-hosts, Nikhil and Pillai. And I'm Rajeev. We are long-time friends. We've grown up together, we've studied together, and we share a common love for movies, especially Malayalam cinema. So, ഞങ്ങള് or at least we kind of noticed that you know there are not a lot of podcasts on Malayalam movies or Malayalam cinema. But the idea is also not just to cover Malayalam movies, but we'll probably cover all kinds of movies that we find interesting, give you a bit of our thoughts about it, what we felt while watching it, stuff like that, kind of make it interesting. ഐഡിയ ഞങ്ങൾ ഇതിനെപ്പറ്റി കുറെ സംസാരിക്കാറുണ്ട് പൊതുവെ. അപ്പൊ ഞങ്ങൾ വിചാരിച്ചു ഈ സംസാരിക്കുന്നതൊക്കെ റെക്കോർഡ് ചെയ്താൽ എങ്ങനെ ഉണ്ടാവും, ചിലപ്പോൾ ബാക്കി ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് ഉള്ള ആൾക്കാർ ആരെങ്കിലും കേട്ടാലോ എന്നൊരു ആലോചന. So I'm just going to throw it out to Nikhil and Pillai so that they can say hi, and they can also kind of tell you why we are here, what we are doing, what their thoughts were, stuff like that. So, Nikhil, can you hear us?
Same thing what Rajeev said. So maybe the vibe we are going is something like the show Internet Said. So what was that show Rajeev used to watch?
Oh, the big picture.
The big picture, yeah.
Yeah.
So അതുപോലത്തെ ഒരു വൈബ് നമ്മൾ മലയാളത്തിൽ ഇതുവരെ കണ്ടിട്ടില്ലല്ലോ. അപ്പോൾ അതൊരു പോഡ്കാസ്റ്റ്.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like Malayalam movies also deserve to be spoken about, right? Like, കുറെ പേര് പറയാന്നല്ല, I mean, we've seen a lot of people say that, I mean, I don't know, നമ്മൾ ചിലപ്പോൾ മലയാളികളായതുകൊണ്ട് കൊണ്ടാണോ നമുക്ക് അതിനോടൊരു ഇൻട്രിൻസിക് ഫീൽ കൂടുതലെന്ന് എനിക്കറിയില്ല. പക്ഷേ I have genuinely felt that compared to a lot of other languages or cinema in general at a global scale, we have a lot of movies which I find very close to my heart, and I feel like there are a lot of small things which come out in Malayalam movies which we generally don't find, especially let's say our actors, our directors, the writing, the scripting, stuff like that. And I feel like talking about it should be I don't know, I find the idea very interesting, because this is something we always do. Like, നമ്മൾ ഇതിനെപ്പറ്റി കുറെ അല്ലാതെ സംസാരിക്കും. I mean, whenever we meet also, one of our biggest things or like one of our favorite things to do is talk about the latest movies we watched, or talk about the old movies that we've seen, talk about the acting performances in it, like ആ കഥേന്റെ ഒരു ബ്രില്യൻസ്, അങ്ങനത്തെ ഐറ്റംസ് ഒക്കെ. സോ അതൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ ഒരു ഇങ്ങനെ എന്താ പറയുക, ഡോക്യുമെന്റ് ചെയ്യാന്ന് പറയുന്നത് is also exciting for me, because I feel like looking forward maybe 5-10 years down the line, when we come back and hear these things, I think it will be great. I think Pillai is here. Pillai, can you hear us?
Yeah.
What do you feel? Give us your thoughts.
I've always felt that the best way to speak about movies is to speak about them, right? I don't think a lot of people write about films well, and especially when it comes to cinema in India, people who write about cinema in newspapers are, of course, most of them are terrible. People who have their own blogs or are running things on the internet are also not. I have not come across anybody who's very interesting. And I think I actually enjoy just speaking to people who go to the movies as everyday audience, right? So I think a big part of what I believe about talking about cinema is very much that the best way to convey one's feelings about cinema is by talking about them, right? Not by writing or anything else. So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. That, like you said, നമ്മൾ ഓൾറെഡി ഇതിനെക്കുറിച്ച് കുറെ സംസാരിക്കാറുണ്ട്. ആ ഒരു സംസാരം ഇപ്പോൾ ഒരു റെക്കോർഡിംഗ് ആയി മാറുമ്പോൾ one, we have something to do, right? That rather than കാണുമ്പോൾ ഒക്കെ സംസാരിച്ച് പോകുന്നതിനെക്കാട്ടി നല്ലത് now we have something to do regularly. പിന്നെ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ ഇപ്പോൾ ഇത് കേൾക്കാൻ താല്പര്യമുള്ള ആൾക്കാരുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ more the merrier, right? So that's what I'm looking forward to here.
Yeah, sounds good to me. So, Nikhil, anything else you want to add before we probably jump into the movie that we thought for the first recording?
The 69th National Awards result came like 5 years ago, and there's no Malayalam movie. No one from Malayalam.
I don't know, have you guys noticed how Malayalam movies are often snubbed in national awards? I don't know. I mean, either we don't. Okay, first of all, it's a larger conversation about how these awards are actually. I mean, do they really merit the amount of importance we give them or not? Because I don't know. Like, there used to be a certain point in my life where I used to feel like, oh, something is revered because it's got an award. But, I mean, no offense to anybody or not trying to insult anyone, but the recent results of the results that we just saw a few hours ago was just appalling to me. Like, some of the awards that were given out. I don't know. So, awards is like,
The
yeah, you're right.
best Malayalam film was Home.
Home was actually quite nice. I think Home is something we can probably talk about, probably dedicate a podcast to it at a later stage. But there were some good movies. I mean, it was not a bad movie here, was it? I mean, it was a good movie here. I thought there were quite a few nice movies which were snubbed.
Did you enjoy anything that came out this year, though?
This year, meaning
Malayalam.
2023.
Yeah.
Did something blow my mind? I don't know. I don't think
Hmm.
so. Yeah, I mean, if you really ask me, which was the last movie that I saw in the theater which blew my mind and I was like, buzzing after the movie, was honestly Tallumala. That's the one I can think of. So that's something, again, I think we need to dedicate a podcast for it. But yeah, what's your last movie that blew your mind?
Oh, it's been a while since I've seen anything in Malayalam, and it
So,
felt
by the
like
way, guys, for all those people who are listening, Pillai is the most harsh critic among all of us. To kind of get him to say that a movie was really nice is very, very difficult. So that's just setting the context for you.
Irita was surprisingly good.
Irita
I
was
was not.
really great. Like, I had zero expectations when I started watching it. I mean, I knew it would be a good story and it would be a good acting performance, but I was genuinely impressed. Like, I was taken aback once when I finished watching it.
I've yet to
Yeah,
watch
but
it.
Oh, it's
maybe
good.
you should, and we can speak about it some other day.
Yeah, sure, for sure.
Purusha Praitham was interesting.
I love
Shipradam,
it.
I liked it, but not loved it.
Yes.
Purusha Praitham was also very interesting as a concept also. I mean, and it's not just the concept, and the making and the making and the interesting and like,
Making a music, how they
yeah, I
did
mean,
the music and
the
those things.
music was nice. Like, some of the sequences, it's almost like a sing-song kind of thing. Like, even the way they're like, or a scene, like, I don't know if we should talk about it, but let's say, since we are, there's that one scene where I'm assuming all of us have seen it. Yeah. So there's this one scene where the cops are standing on two sides of the bank of the river, and then ഇവർ രണ്ടുപേരും ഇങ്ങനെ എന്താ പറയാ ബോഡി ഏത് ഭാഗത്തേക്കാ പോവാന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് ഇങ്ങനെ നോക്കി നിൽക്കുന്നില്ലേ. അപ്പൊ അതിൽ നോക്കിയാൽ യു ക്യാൻ സീ ദാറ്റ് ദേ ട്രൈ, ലൈക്ക് ദ ഷോട്ട് ഹസ് ബീൻ ടേക്കൻ ഇൻ സച്ച് എ വേ ദാറ്റ് ദി സെൻട്രൽ ക്യാരക്ടർ ഇസ് ഇൻ ദ മിഡിൽ, and then there are people towards his right and towards his left in an almost triangular direction. Okay. And then everybody is just bobbing in the same direction as they're looking at the body move. I mean, I found those things very nice. Like, that's very interesting in the field for quite some time, though we may not be aware of it. But some of them are really coming up with interesting movies and nice movies, and so it's like gone are the days, I feel, where you look at a movie and you look at a director and you are like, oh, ഡയറക്ടർ ആരാന്ന് അറിയില്ല, സോ ഈ പടം ചിലപ്പോൾ പൊട്ടയായിരിക്കും. അങ്ങനെ ഒരു സിറ്റുവേഷനേ അല്ല ഇപ്പോൾ. ഐ ഫീൽ ലൈക്ക് യു ഹാവ് ടു വെയിറ്റ് ഫോർ ദ മൂവി ടു കം ഔട്ട് ആൻഡ് റിയലി വാച്ച് ഇറ്റ് ടു know that if it's actually come out well or not. So having said that, I think we should jump into today's episode, and the movie that we are talking about today is 2018 or 2018, which came out this year. So ee padam I think was a massive hit. In fact, I was looking at I was looking at some of the keynotes for this before, when I was prepping for this podcast, and this movie is the highest grossing Malayalam movie to date. It's made more than 200 crores. ഇതാണ് ദ പടം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ. അതായത് ഇപ്പൊ നമ്മൾ മലയാളത്തിൽ ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ പൈസ ഉണ്ടാക്കിയ പടം ഏതാന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ, ആസ് ഓൺ ഡേറ്റ് ഇറ്റ്സ് 2018.
What was before this? Was it Lucifer?
It was Pulimurugan, which was holding a record from 2016 at 152 crores.
Didn't Lucifer cross that one?
No, it didn't. So yesterday I was looking at the list of highest grossing movies, and Lucifer was third, if I'm not wrong, at somewhere around 148 crores. Very close, but Lucifer was third. Pulimurugan was second, and I mean, from 2016 it's held on to its record, which is not bad. That's like almost 5-6 years, which is pretty good. And Now it's 2018. Like 200 crores. And this is another thing about Malayalam movies, right? These movies are made on, okay, maybe not Lucifer or Pulimurgan, but 2018 was made on a budget of 15 crores. And then they went on to make 200 crores worldwide.
Wait, what?
I mean,
15 crores? That's it?
yeah, that's it. Like 15 crores, 1 5. I was surprised. Like, I was like mind blown. And you know what's the funniest part though? ഇതിലൊക്കെ തമാശ എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ so the director of this movie is Jude Joseph Anthony. I think we'll probably talk about him a little bit more as we move on in the podcast. But I was watching this interview where once this movie came out and became like a really big hit, and this Jude was talking about how he's been working on this movie for quite some time. Like he started working on this movie already in like 2018, 2019, once the floods happened and everything. Like he had the idea in his mind. He's also a co-writer for the movie. So I started working on it, started writing it, stuff like that. And then what happened is he was finding it difficult to convince producers to take on this movie because they were like, first of all, logistically, it's a nightmare because there's so much that they need to do. Recreating a flood is obviously not an easy thing, right? And I think very well done for the movie to actually, make us come into that atmosphere where it feels like there was acting. I mean, and most of the effects used in this movie are practical effects. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. But coming back to my point, so he was finding it very difficult to find producers who would actually fund this movie. Finally, he did come up with, he found a couple of producers and then he started working with them. And what happened is that, he was not able to put a proper budget in line and give it to them to begin with, because he always ended up crossing the budget that he was giving them. So finally, these producers, and the movie itself was taking a long time to make. So finally, what happened was these producers backed out, and then he had to find this other producer. I think Venu is the name. So finally, he came in and then, funded the rest of the movie, and that's how he was able to complete the movie. And all this for 15 crores. Okay, at the end of the day. So angana nokumbo, it's a massive hit, and it's the biggest movie of the year, and it's the biggest movie in Malayalam as far as commercial points of it goes.
What was Pulimurgan's budget?
Pulimurgan was made on 27 crores, dude.
Okay, so even that actually is.
But I think half
Malayalam
would be Mohanlal's salary.
For sure. The other half was given to the villain just so that he was willing to be called Daddy Girija. I think.
I'll tell you what, this is just interesting. I'm just looking at the top 5. I'll just talk about the top 5 films. So 2018 obviously is the highest grossing film with 200 crores, 15 crore budget. Pulimurgan is second and was released in 2016. Made 152 crores by spending 27 crores. Lucifer is on 3, made 127 crores with a budget of 30 crores. Bhishma Paramam is 4th, made 87 crores or around 92 crores with again a budget of 15 crores. Guess which is 5th? Kurup is 5th, and you know how much they spent to make this movie? 35 crores. It made an 81 crores worldwide though.
Oh.
I've not seen Purpose.
നമ്മളിങ്ങനെ ഈ പോഡ്കാസ്റ്റ് തുടങ്ങിയപ്പോൾ വേദാന്തം പറയായിരുന്നു ദാറ്റ് മലയാളം മൂവീസ് മാസാണ്, അടിപൊളിയാണ്. ബട്ട് ലുക്കിംഗ് അറ്റ് ദ മൂവീസ് വിച്ച് ഹാവ് ആക്ച്വലി മെയ്ഡ് മണി, ഐ എം നോട്ട് ലൈക്ക്, okay, I like Lucifer, I don't like Pulimurgan. Bhishma Paramam is also nice, like it's a nice mass movie. What is Kuruppu though?
I have not seen it.
You shouldn't probably, but it's just ridiculous. I don't understand. But one of the other reasons that could be is that, Kurup was the first movie to come out in theaters after the whole COVID pandemic thing happened, and it was the first mass movie to come out, like, and people started going to theaters fully to watch. Like, I myself was one of those people because I hadn't been to a theater in a very long time, and I was like, theater പോയിട്ട് ഒരു പടം കാണുന്ന ഫീൽ വേറെയാണല്ലോ. അപ്പൊ ആ സമയത്താണ് കുറുപ്പ് ഇറങ്ങിയത്. അങ്ങനെ കുറെ പേര് പോയി കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ടെന്നാണ് എൻ്റെ ഒരു വിശ്വാസം. ബിക്കോസ് ആ പടത്തിൽ അല്ലാതെ ഒന്നുമില്ല.
It's not just that. I think with Dulkar, one thing is that he runs a very effective marketing campaign, and that's with any movie that's coming out. You can see it right now with Kings of Kotha, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So he runs a very tight marketing campaign. The second is also that with Kurup, I think there's a story that's been in Malayali conversations for a while. So you mix those two, and probably the thing that you said as well, right? That it was a movie that came out after a while, that after a while into the cinemas. So yeah, I think all of those coming together is what caused the kind of stir that it did with Kurupu.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Dulkar really knows how to present himself. You're right. It's him or his team or whoever it is. They know PR, right? Like they know how to push him as like, and he has that charm, he has that presence, no doubt about it. Acting probably not so much, but he definitely knows how to kind of show himself out there, put himself out there. And if you've noticed, he's actually probably the only one among all the Malayalam movie stars who has a lot of content in Hindi. Like forget Tamil, forget Telugu, Kannada, stuff like that, because that's more South India related, right? But he has quite a bit of hold in Hindi movie languages. Even the latest series that came out, Guns and Gulabs, is Raj and DK. It's like a big thing, right? But he's playing quite an important role. He's one of the central characters in that.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, it's
Heard it's good.
general Raj and DK levels. I still think Family
That's
Man.
what I heard.
Yeah, I mean, I still think Family Man is their best. Like it was really nice, but this is not so much. I mean, it was okay. Whatever. So since we are on the topic, I just want to cover the 6 to 10 movies. Okay, this is just top 10 movies that made the most money. Sixth is Drishyam, which is quite nice. It came out in 2013 and is still holding sixth place. Okay, it made 74 crores worldwide, and it was made on a budget of 5 crores, which is nice. Seventh is Tallumala. Tallumala came out in 2022, but it made 72 crores worldwide, and their budget has not been given. So ഇതൊക്കെ പറയുന്ന പോലെ വിക്കി ഫിഗേഴ്സ് ആണ്, എത്രത്തോളം ബിലീവബിൾ ആണ് അല്ല എന്ന് അറിയില്ല, ബട്ട് ലെറ്റ്സ് അസ്യൂം ദാറ്റ് അറ്റ്ലീസ്റ്റ് 60-70% ഓഫ് ദിസ് ഇസ് റൈറ്റ്. ഗൈസ്, എയ്ത്ത് ഫിലിം യു വിൽ നോട്ട് ഗെസ്. ഞാൻ എന്തൊക്കെ ചെയ്താലും നിങ്ങൾ ഗെസ് ചെയ്യില്ല.
Clue, give us a clue.
It's one of those characters. I mean, it's a real life character that existed in the past, like Pandatta Kalathu. More like a Peter Pan character. Not Peter Pan. Who's the person that used to take from the rich and give to the poor?
Robin Hood.
Yeah, that character, but in Malayalam.
Just because both of them wore green. Was that your...
I don't know. That's just the name that came to me. Kayangulam Kochunni came out in 2018, directed by Roshan Andrews. Made 72 crores worldwide. 8th highest grossing Malayalam movie.
Wasn't it a flop?
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming. But it was a flop if you look at it in terms of, it was made on a budget of 45 crores. Okay, this is the highest from the top 10 movies on which the money was spent. They spent 45 crores on this movie, and it made 72 crores. And it's a shit movie.
Wait, can you do me a quick favor? Can you Google how much it costs to make Arabic Kadalinte Simham?
Oh God!
And
What's
how
the
much
movie
it
even
made?
called? And the full pair എന്തായിരുന്നു?
No idea.
100 crore budget.
ഒന്നോ പിന്നെ
100 crore budget ആണ് വിക്കിയിൽ എഴുതിക്കുന്നത്.
Shit. How much did it make? Does it say?
No.
ചിലപ്പോ അവർക്ക് പറയാൻ പറ്റുണ്ടാവില്ല. 100 കോടിയൊക്കെ ചെലവാക്കിയിട്ടേ. It's not even in the top 10, dude. Shit.
Yeah, Priyadarshan. The only film he's made after that is Corona Papers, right?
I think so. I don't know. Is he made in some other language? I don't know. Corona Papers I saw. Corona Papers, in fact, I didn't even know was a Priyadarshan movie. It was more
I got the collection for Marikyar.
എത്ര?
Worldwide 49 crore.
49.
Oh my.
That's
That
horrible. Horrible.
That's like buying cryptocurrency, dude. Like you just bought a bunch and then
It's a disaster.
Yeah.
horrible.
Ninth highest grossing movie is Romancham. Came out this year. Made 71 crores worldwide. And you know how much they cost to make them?
Something 2 or 3, right? Very less.
3 crores. That's it.
Yeah.
That's
Because all
insane.
new faces. Only
That was
Saubin
great.
was a recognizable person.
Yeah, that was great though. I think I miss not watching this movie in the theater.
Yeah.
I think it would have
I
made.
think there are some movies if you don't watch in theater, affected a lot. I think Romanjam is one of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe Romanjam, Tallumala.
Yeah, Tallumala for sure. Because I mean, Pillai, I think I was talking to you about it. നമ്മൾ സംസാരിച്ചപ്പോൾ തന്നെ I was mind blown, right? Like obviously I was mind blown. Then I spoke to you guys about the movie, and then you obviously couldn't watch it in the theater. But then when you saw it on TV, or I don't know how you watched it on laptop or something like that, it's just not the same. Like how you feel or effect is not. In fact, I myself resaw the movie on TV, and it's just not the same. So അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ ഞാൻ എല്ലാവരോടും പറയുമ്പോൾ everybody is like, ഇയാളെന്ത് വിയേർഡാണോ, ഇയാൾക്ക് മനസ്സിലാവുന്നത് ഇത് അത്ര വലിയ പാടൊന്നും അല്ലല്ലോ എന്നൊരു ഫീൽ. I don't know.
Even 2018, if I watched in theater, maybe I would have loved it more. So, ഞാൻ ഈ ടി വിയിൽ കണ്ടിട്ട് അത്ര ആ ഒരു എഫക്റ്റ് കിട്ടിയില്ല.
And finally, the 10th movie is Premam. Came out in 2015, made 68 crores worldwide, and was made on a budget of 4 crores. Not bad, that's pretty good. Premam was quite the rage when it came out. Huh?
It was, yeah. Also
when I
among non-Malayalis.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. This is the first movie I think because I studied in Bangalore and I went to college here. So ഇവിടെ ഉള്ളവരൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ ഫ്രണ്ട്സിനോടൊക്കെ സംസാരിക്കുമ്പോൾ those are non-Malayalis. Everybody is aware of Premam for some reason. And this is a time I'm telling you where OTTs have not become a big thing. Like OTTs are still just gaining popularity and stuff like that, as in at least in our circles. So അങ്ങനെ നോക്കുമ്പോൾ അവർക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും പ്രേമം അപ്പോഴേ അറിയായിരുന്നു, and everybody really liked it as well. And then I think Premam was the chain which started, and then people started watching other movies related to it, like Ustad Hotel, Bangalore Days, like non-Malayalis I'm talking about. And then they really like Action Hero Biju. They really like these movies, and then they're like, oh, Nivin Polymas. Okay, I think we should get back to 2018. I think we digressed quite a bit. Let's see. So 2018 as a movie, like I said, highest grossing movie, pretty good that way. The base synopsis of the movie is that it's basically about the floods which happened in 2018 in Kerala. It affected, I think, the whole state. A lot of destruction, a lot of damage, and what the movie tries to do is show how it affected the people, how people came out of it, how people came together to withstand it. And if you look at it in that sense, I think it does a pretty good job of showing or like communicating what it intended to do. What do you guys think?
So, what do you guys think? Why did it collect this much? What do you think is the reason behind it?
I
So
think
See, I don't remember this movie having a lot of marketing, frankly.
that's true.
Yeah,
Right.
ഇത് ഇറങ്ങിയ ഒരു 1 week before എൻ്റെ ട്രെയിലർ ഇറങ്ങി.
Yeah, and then I think with both East Cinema and Romanjam, I think രണ്ടിന്റെയും ഫേവറിൽ വർക്ക് ചെയ്ത ഒരു കാര്യം is word of mouth, right?
Yeah.
Because I hadn't seen Romanjam till almost the time when it was out of the theaters. And I was like, what is this random film that everybody's watching and everybody's saying, please go watch? Yeah, and the trailer ഒന്നും കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നില്ല. But then I went and watched it and I quite enjoyed it, right? 2018, I had heard more than Romanjam.
Yeah.
Because obviously big production and big cast and all of that. But still, I wasn't quite sure what the film is about. I had to look it up, right? So അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ വെച്ച് നോക്കുമ്പോൾ I think it is a good question, right? That എന്തുകൊണ്ട് it was such a success. But I think a lot of Malayalam films do work like that, right? In the sense that if a film comes out and it proves itself in terms of 1 or 2 or whatever, whatever number of parameters, it turns out to be good. I think with us at least, those films do go on to do well, like collect money as well, right? Unlike a lot of other industries where good films come out and don't make money.
Yeah. I think the only thing I saw was like, in the trailer I knew Jude Joseph Anthony was directing it and the movie was coming out about the floods. In fact, I kind of predicted that they would obviously make a movie on the floods at some point of time. I was just going to see, I was just waiting to see if they would actually be able to successfully do it or not. And I think they were able to successfully do it after watching the movie. Another reason I think that this movie was such a big hit was because, see, I don't know about, I'm sure, I mean, I know about you guys because we're friends, but I think we were one of those lucky few people who weren't really affected by the floods as much. Okay. Because luckily for where we were staying, or I was not even in the state for that matter, or not, and my parents were fine. Wherever they were staying was not really flooded or anything like that. But this calamity actually affected a lot of people, like, and we've seen, and this has affected like not just a few areas, but it has affected almost all districts in the state. So simply because of that, I feel like people were able to relate so much more to it, and it's still fresh in everybody's mind, right? It's not been that long. So I think people were able to relate to it quite a bit, and I think they were successful in showing a lot of what happened, which also gives it the kind of big success that it got, I feel.
But I would say that why didn't virus become as big as a hit as this one? Because that was also almost.
പക്ഷെ think about it, virus ഇപ്പൊ ഞാൻ പറയട്ടെ, വൈറസ് is about നിപ്പ കോഴിക്കോട് ജില്ലയിലാണ് മെയിൻ ആയിട്ട് എഫക്ട് ആയത്. കോഴിക്കോട് ജില്ലയിൽ എഫക്ട് ആയിട്ട് ഈവൻ ദെൻ I think they were able to, I mean, they did, obviously the government did a fantastic job of kind of containing the virus. So at the end of it, not a lot of people were actually affected by the virus, though everybody was in shock and everybody was like, oh, nippa bhayangara prashnaman. I mean, it was a big thing, obviously, like adu pidicha prashnaman. Our fear was obviously there throughout the state, but how many people did it actually affect? Very, very few in comparison to the flood literally affected like more than half the state. I mean, almost 70-80% of the state. So that difference is always there.
And I think the movie main theme and like the humanity is like everyone is a hero and everyone together is helping each other, and
Yeah, adversity bringing people together, that's what they're trying to show, basically.
I think our theme and എല്ലാരും drawn to this movie.
Yeah. So I'll tell you some of the things I really liked about the movie, and you guys can pitch in as well. From the very first shot, okay, like the first half of the movie is primarily trying to, and this is just a shout out to whoever has probably not watched the movie. This is a fully spoiler filled podcast. So if you guys have not watched the movie, and if you are someone who doesn't like spoilers, like all of us here on this podcast, then you should probably not listen further. But anyway, moving on. So from the first half of the movie is obviously kind of trying to just get us acclimatized with all the characters that are in the movie, like the small village that we're set in, and kind of see their daily life and day to day, very normal people, how they live, how they go on with their life and stuff like that. But from the very first shot of the movie, if you noticed, it's always gloomy, it's always cloudy, there's always drizzling rain, and there's constant sound of rain in the background. So that, I think, especially I saw this in the theater, and I think that specifically sets in the mood, right? Like within the first 15-20 minutes of the movie, you're already in the mood where you're constantly listening to like that pitter patter of rain at the background, and that kind of sets the tone for the whole movie, which is really nice, I thought. Except for, I think, one or two sequences where they show Tamil Nadu korchu vellathinte scarcity and stuff like that. That's the only sequences where there's no wetness on the screen or on the land across or anything like that. So that, I think, mood setting was done quite well. I think the graphics and VFX was quite good in the movie, especially for a Malayalam movie or an Indian movie for that matter. Sure, I mean, if you're going to sit and nitpick, you can find a lot of issues with it. But I think given the budget that they were working with, they did a good job. There were a lot of cinematic moments in the movie, obviously, like a lot of kind of heroism kind of coming out and stuff like that, which I was not a great fan of. But some of it works, some of it doesn't work. Like how in the movie at one instance they don't know what to do, and military operations are going to take time to come in. Then that fishermen are going to come to the rescue, but when the fishermen do come to the rescue, and it's very cinematic, and there's music, and then it's like that kind of feeling and hooray feeling. But that was nice, like you feel like in the zone with it. But another opposite thing of this is like ഇവര് തുടക്കത്തിൽ ഇവര് ഫിഷർമാൻ ഈ ലാലിന് നരേന്റെ ഒരു ഇൻട്രൊഡക്ഷൻ ഉണ്ട് വേർ ദേ ആർ ഗോയിങ് ടു സേവ് സംബഡി ഫ്രം ദ കടൽ and then there's a ship coming and stuff like that. That was very like I don't know, I was just like ഇതിന്റെ ഒരു ആവശ്യം ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു എന്ന് എനിക്ക് അത് അപ്പൊ കണ്ടപ്പോ തോന്നി.
Same point I have written is first fisherman scene.
Yeah, I mean that was so over the top.
I think the scene they could have made it better compared to the other stuff.
Yeah,
I think their idea was to show a backdrop of the fishermen introduce ചെയ്യാനുള്ള ഒരു സീൻ പോലെയായിരുന്നു. But
yeah, അവര് ഉദ്ദേശിച്ചത് എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ഇവരിങ്ങനെ ഭയങ്കര ഹെൽപ്ഫുൾ ആൾക്കാരാണ് ഇങ്ങനെ you know
it was just ഒരു foreshadowing പോലെ like the skills കാണിക്കാനുള്ള.
Yeah,
I felt അത് കുറച്ച് ഓവർ എക്സ്റ്റെൻഡഡ് പോലെയായിരുന്നു.
I think maybe that was also a way of introducing cinematic visuals, because even before the big scenes hit us, this one set the mood that so whatever capability on the കാണിക്കാനുള്ള kind of maybe that's what they were going for. Because ആ ഒരു വലിയ സീൻ കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് like you said അത് immediately slows down to ടോവിനോന്റെ everyday life and ആ ചെറിയ മഴ and all of that. So I think that's what they were going for, that our Agamsha sets in then, and then they work with the smaller story and build it up to the final drama.
Then
I think our scene matram probably maybe because of the budget it didn't feel
actually like interestingly now that you mention it, as our scene primarily fully VFX ആണ്. Okay, like a kadalum all those things are fully VFX. ആ കപ്പൽ വരുന്നതും
you know dark that scene.
Yeah, so അത് full VFX ആയിരുന്നു. But when we progress in the movie and all the flood rescue operations and they took up വൈക്കത്ത് ഇവര് 15 ഏക്കർ ലാൻഡ് റെന്റിന് എടുത്തിട്ട് ആ 15 ഏക്കർ ലാൻഡിലാണ് ഈ വില്ലേജിനെ അവർ കൺസ്ട്രക്ട് ചെയ്തത്, അതായത് വീടുകളും എല്ലാം കൂടി സെറ്റപ്പ് ഒക്കെ ആക്കിയിട്ട്. Then within this 15 acres of land they took out 2 acres of land and built like a tank around it so that they can flood water in it. Like ഇതിന്റെ logistics ആലോചിക്കുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ I'm very very impressed. Obviously it would have not been easy, but ആ flooding sequence, അതായത് വീടിന്റെ ഉള്ളിലുള്ള വെള്ളം അങ്ങനത്തെ സീക്വൻസസ് ഒന്നും VFX അല്ല. These are all practical effects, and when you say practical effects, I mean that's extremely commendable if you ask me. That would not have been easy.
I think that's what the power of practical effects. Maybe something that's why even no one uses practical effects.
For sure. I think ഈ rescue operations was very nice. I think people in trouble, they kind of tried to show all sorts of instances where people were stuck in houses, people were I don't know, falling off buildings, there were landslides, അങ്ങനെ എല്ലാ kind of scenario അവർ കാണിക്കാൻ ശ്രമിച്ചു, I felt, and that was also nice. And it genuinely is successful in creating a sense of fear. Like നമുക്ക് ഒരു പേടി തോന്നുന്ന ഒരു ഫീലിംഗ്, ലൈക്ക് വേർ ഇൻ യുവർ ജസ്റ്റ് ലൈക്ക് ശരിക്കും ഇങ്ങനെ സംഭവിച്ചു, നമ്മൾ എന്താ ചെയ്യുക, എങ്ങനെയാ അതിന് കാര്യങ്ങൾ. എസ്പെഷ്യലി ഐ ഡോണ്ട് നോ, ഐ പേഴ്സണലി കുഡ് റിലേറ്റ് എ ലോട്ട് ടു ഈ വീടൊക്കെ പൊളിഞ്ഞു വന്ന സീക്വൻസസ് ഇല്ലേ, ലൈക്ക് ആൾക്കാരൊക്കെ എത്ര ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടിയിട്ട് അവരുടെ വീട് ഉണ്ടാക്കിയിട്ടുണ്ടാവുക അല്ലേ.
I thought you were going to say you related with the girl who was certificate എടുക്കാൻ പോയത്. I thought that's very.
ആ പെണ്ണൊക്കെ ചിലപ്പോൾ കൊടുക്കാൻ എനിക്ക്
തോന്നുന്നു. Let's face it, that's the least sympathy I had for any character. So weird. But wait, just to interrupt you here. Right?
Yeah.
This whole ipo than explained the very very വലിയ set undaki, they flooded it themselves, all of that, right? I mean, I know there is no other way to make a film like this, in the sense that unless you're heavily reliant on EFX, and this looked better because of what they did.
Yeah.
Given all of that, what was the need for that one scene where അവരാ ഒരു ഇങ്ങനെ മഴ പെയ്ച്ചിട്ടൊരു ആഡ് ഷൂട്ട് നടത്തുന്നില്ലേ, ആസിഫ് അലി, and then this comment that എന്തോരം വെള്ള വേസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന or something, and I am just sitting there in the theater thinking, guys, just just take a minute to see what you've just done here, right? What is the need for this scene when you are making a movie like this? I don't understand it. It was unnecessary preaching.
അല്ല ആ സീൻ കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് ആ മറ്റേ ഹെലികോപ്റ്റർ സീനിന് ഫുൾ മഴ വരുന്നില്ലല്ലോ. സോ എനിക്കത്
ലൈക്ക് ഈ സിനിമ ഫുൾ അങ്ങനെയല്ലേ ഷൂട്ട് ചെയ്തേക്കുന്നത്. So I don't understand. Like എന്തോ I mean obviously they were trying to go for നമ്മള് വെള്ളം ഇങ്ങനത്തെ ഒരു പ്രശ്നം ഇല്ലാത്തപ്പോ നമുക്ക് വെള്ളത്തിനെ പേടിയില്ല, പക്ഷെ അല്ലാതെ വെള്ളം ഭയങ്കര പേടിയാവും. I get it. The message is clear, but why?
Obviously they didn't think it through as such. Like ഇവർ എന്തോരം വെള്ളം ഉപയോഗിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട് ഷൂട്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിട്ട്. അങ്ങനെ നോക്കുമ്പോ
I can only imagine, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
അതേപോലെ like
yeah.
there were a couple of scenes which is like right, seriously somebody, I mean it's not like അത് ഭയങ്കര ആലോചിച്ചാലേ ഈ സീനിന്റെ പ്രശ്നം കാണുള്ളൂ, which is my point, that there were some scenes which were just so stupid on the face of it that I feel like if they had just gotten those cleaned up, the movie overall would have been much nicer. For example, our scene with our rescue helicopters വരില്ല, pregnant lady നെ കൊണ്ടുപോകാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട്.
Yeah.
So at the outset, the scene is that മഴ പെയ്യോ, ഫ്ലഡ് ആണ്, obviously helicopters can't land.
Yeah.
Right? So they've sent things which can airlift ആണ് അയച്ചേക്കുന്നത്.
Yeah.
And then the conundrum they try to convey us is that they can't land. Why would an airlift land? That makes no sense. And they're like, we can't land, we're leaving. And then suddenly Tovino convinces them that, hey, listen, I'm trained, I can do this. And what does he do? He just puts that tube around the lady.
Yeah.
Like,
I think the intent with that scene was to kind of show that they're more trying to show Tovino's this thing, isn't there? I mean, obviously, yeah, his character. I mean, Tovino is obviously the most important character throughout. I mean, among the ensemble cast, his story is the one which we are more focused on, or that's what they try to make us focus and stuff like that. So they are kind of trying to show, how he's kind of uplifting everything and making stuff happen. But I also found it very funny. Nee parna ee scene le avaru helicopter ingane vannirikku. Okay, two things very funny in the scene. First thing is, ഇവർ ഹെലികോപ്റ്ററിൽ വന്നു, ഇവരൊക്കെ മലയാളികളാണ്. ഐ ഡോണ്ട് നോ വാട്ട് ദ മിലിറ്ററി, ഐ ഡോണ്ട് നോ ഹൗ ദ മിലിറ്ററി വർക്ക്സ്, ഓർ ഐ ഡോണ്ട് നോ ഹൗ വാട്ട് ദെയർ എന്താ പറയുക, അവർക്ക് ഇങ്ങനെ റൂൾസ് ഉണ്ടോന്നൊന്നും എനിക്കറിയില്ല. ഇവരൊക്കെ മലയാളികളാണ്, പക്ഷെ ഇവർ ഇംഗ്ലീഷിൽ മാത്രം സംസാരിക്കുന്നുള്ളൂ. അതായത് ഇവർ ഇംഗ്ലീഷിൽ തമ്മിൽ മാത്രം സംസാരിക്കുന്നതല്ല. തമ്മിൽ സംസാരിക്കുമ്പോൾ പിന്നെ ഓക്കെ വാട്ട് എവർ, നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ എല്ലാവരും അങ്ങോട്ടും ഇങ്ങോട്ടും തമ്മിൽ മേ ബി വി ആർ ടോക്കിംഗ് ഇൻ ഇംഗ്ലീഷ്. ഇവര് റെസ്ക്യൂ ഓപ്പറേഷൻസിന് വന്ന് റെസ്ക്യൂ ചെയ്യുന്ന ആൾക്കാരോടൊക്കെ ഇംഗ്ലീഷിൽ ഹീസ് ലിഫ്റ്റിംഗ് ദ പ്രഗ്നന്റ് ലേഡി അപ്പ് ആൻഡ് ഹീസ് ആസ്കിംഗ് ഹർ, ആർ യു ഓക്കെ, ഇസ് എവറിഥിങ് ഓക്കെ, ഇസ് എവറിഥിങ് ഫൈൻ, stuff like that. And I'm just like, what? That part I found very funny. Second thing I found is, he's like, okay, we are not able to land here and all that jazz. And then he's like, sir, someone is trying to communicate with us. Whereas Tovino is just waving his arms. That's what everybody else there is doing. Everybody's just making noise and asking them to somehow do some shit. Yeah, and then they notice Tovino somehow, and he's not even making like any of those specific military actions which, like ഒരു കമാൻഡ് ചെയ്യുന്ന പോലെ എന്തോ സ്പെസിഫിക് ആക്ഷൻ ഒന്നും അല്ല അവൻ ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അവൻ ജസ്റ്റ് ഇങ്ങനെ കൈ വേവ് ചെയ്യുക, അത്രേ ഉള്ളൂ. And then they're like, oh yeah, he's communicating with us. So that was funny.
Yeah, that scene was quite poor.
Yeah, but ഈ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ ഇതിന്റെ ട്രിവിയ, ജസ്റ്റ് ബിഫോർ യു കണ്ടിന്യൂ, ഇതിന്റെ ഒരു ട്രിവിയ എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ, ഈ ഹെലികോപ്റ്റർ സീൻ അവർ ആദ്യം ഷൂട്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ വിചാരിച്ചത് 4 ദിവസത്തിൽ ഷൂട്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്ന അവർ വിചാരിച്ചത്. ബട്ട് ദേ ഇൻ ഫാക്ട് എൻഡഡ് അപ്പ് ടേക്കിംഗ് 9 days just to shoot that one scene. So അങ്ങനെ ഒരു കാര്യമുണ്ട്. എനിവേ ഗോ ഓൺ.
No, I was just saying that I think പുള്ളിനെ ആ വില്ലേജേഴ്സിന് മുമ്പിൽ ഒരു സാധാരണക്കാരനല്ല അയാളൊരു ഹീറോ ആണ്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഹീറോന്റെ പൊട്ടൻഷ്യൽ ഉള്ള ആളാണെന്ന് കാണിക്കാൻ I think there were endless possibilities, and they just went for a very lukewarm strategy.
Then, I mean, these are obviously some of the things we spoke about, which we like about the movie, which we don't like. Okay, so there's an interesting question that I have for you guys. Ee padam, obviously, like you might have noticed, has a wide range of characters and a lot of popular actors that we are used to seeing on screen. Okay. And so much so that so many, I mean, simply because there are so many actors in the movie, so many characters, there are many good actors in the movie who barely get like one scene or two scenes. Okay. So my question to you guys is, what do you think about an ensemble cast movie? Like, do you think, like, what is the rationale behind it? What is the thought process that is going behind this? Because obviously, a particular scene where a actor ചെയ്താലും, I mean, there are some scenes which I felt like, there are some actors which I felt like would have made zero difference in the movie. Like, so what do you think about that?
Just so you said, I had listed down the actors who were just there one or two scenes. Varnam Siddiq, Varnam Jafar Idiki.
Wait, where was Siddiq?
Dude, Siddiq was Aparna Balamurali's dad. He's at the hospital. And he has like
Right.
one or two scenes. That's all.
Then
Oh, we
Janana.
did. Oh, please remind me to come back to Aparna Balamurali's
Yes,
character.
we will. I've made a note of that. We will come back to some of the main actors or main storylines. But yeah, let's talk about the others first.
But I think why they did this ensemble thing is maybe like നമ്മള് ഒരു like ഒരു നോർമൽ ആള് സിനിമ കാണുമ്പോൾ വിൽ സി ഒരു അറിയുന്ന ആളെ കാണുമ്പോൾ വിൽ ഫീൽ കുറച്ചും കൂടി ഒരു
Maybe a sense of comfort it builds in. That you're right. Yeah, I think even I thought about it that way, probably to build that comfort, but
ഞാനും കണ്ടപ്പോൾ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്തപ്പോൾ സിദ്ദിഖ് ഉണ്ടല്ലോ എന്നൊക്കെ കാണും. ബട്ട് അത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് ലാസ്റ്റ് നോക്കുമ്പോൾ സിദ്ദിഖ് വേറെ സീൻസ് ഒന്നും ഇല്ലല്ലോ.
Siddiq is a fantastic actor, right? Like he's someone who's amazing. സിദ്ദിഖിനൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ ചെറിയൊരു സൈഡ് റോൾ ഐ ഡോണ്ട് നോ ഈ പറഞ്ഞ ഞാൻ പറയട്ടെ
ഡിക്കോയ് ഓർ സംതിങ് ടു യു നോ ആ ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് പോവാതിരിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട്. സോ ഇഫ് ഇറ്റ്സ് സം റാൻഡം ആക്ടർ യു മൈറ്റ് നോട്ട് ഫീൽ അത്രയും ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ്. ഈ സീൻസ് ഒക്കെ ഇറ്റ്സ് ജസ്റ്റ് ലൈക്ക് ഫില്ലർ സീൻസ്. അപ്പോൾ ആ സീൻസിൽ ഇഫ് ഇറ്റ്സ് റാൻഡം ആക്ടേഴ്സ് മേ ബി യു വോണ്ട് get that much interested in that.
Yeah, you may not be as invested is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, that's what I feel.
പക്ഷെ ഞാൻ പറയട്ടെ, what I found really funny is ensemble characters ഇങ്ങനെ 1-2 സീൻസിന് വേണ്ടി ഇടുന്നത് പോരാണ്ട്, you know, another thing that I don't know if you guys noticed this, I noticed this and I was a little like aghast. I was like, ഇതെന്താണ് സംഭവം, ഒരു ഉദ്ദേശം എനിക്കറിയില്ല. ആസിഫ് അലിയുടെയും നരേന്റെയും അമ്മ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ ക്യാരക്ടർ ഇല്ല ഈ പടത്തില്. She is obviously no more. Lal is the dad, right? And Narendra Bharya, and that's the family that they're living in. There's one scene when ഇവരൊക്കെ പാക്ക് ചെയ്തിട്ട് റിലീഫ് ക്യാമ്പിലേക്ക് പോവുക. അപ്പൊ ഇവര് ഈ അമ്മയുടെ ഫോട്ടോ കാണിക്കും. You know who the amma is?
Wait, I think I remember. But yeah, tell.
Amma is Kalpana. God bless her soul. She passed away. She was a brilliant actress. But what was the need to make her the amma? Like I don't know.
I think it's more a way of paying respects. It's a little weird, but I think that's what they were going for.
And it's a weird way of paying respect if that's what the intent was. I just found it really weird because that was one of the characters I know. One of the things I noticed, which is like, I was like, wow. Did you guys? I didn't even remember. So this is when I watched it the second time. Now I noticed it. ഈ വിനീത് ശ്രീനിവാസന്റെ ഭാര്യയുടെ അച്ഛൻ ആരാറോ, രഞ്ജി പണിക്കർ. For what? No. It's like one scene. That's all.
I think maybe the best person who had less scenes was Indran's.
Indran's was brilliant. Actually, I made a note of Indran's.
I think Indran's maybe the best performance I felt in a movie. And the best scene is when he drowns. Our scene is blind and you know, I don't know how he's acting it, but you really feel like he's blind and he's drunk.
Yeah, I mean, he was very good. Like I felt even in the beginning when they show him sitting in the, I really like the scene where he's sitting in his shop and then Tovino comes in and then Tovino is just explaining to him what's going on around there, right? And then he's sitting there and listening to it and he's trying to imagine all this, right? And I feel like that's very difficult to act as such. Like, you know, our nuances expression konduran as a blind man who's not actually blind as the actor. I think that's really difficult, and I think he's brilliant. Like he's a really great actor. And if you look back at it, the kind of movies he's done in the past, right? I mean, there's another note that I made. Probably it's a little bit of digress, but I think Malayalam movies are some of the few movies where we find so many side actors who are actually great actors and can actually carry a movie by themselves. Indran's is one of those actors. And you will find that only in Malayalam. Like, let's say, take someone like Salim Kumar. I mean, these guys are all who came up as like comedians who do silly roles in past movies, but who have also won state awards for performing, right? You know, and I find that really like I take a lot of pride in it that നമ്മുടെ ഇൻഡസ്ട്രിയിൽ അങ്ങനെ കുറെ ആൾക്കാരുണ്ട്. ലൈക്ക് ഈവൻ നമ്മൾ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ പുരുഷപ്രയത്തിനെ പറ്റി നമ്മൾ സംസാരിച്ചില്ല. അതിന്റെ മെയിൻ ആക്ടർ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ആളെ നമ്മൾ എന്തോരം സിനിമകൾ കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്. We have seen him in so many movies, in so many side roles, but he was so good. Like he could carry that movie, and it's not just on the actor. Of course, it's also about the director, the script, and everything. But I think we are very talented as an industry that way.
Yeah, I think of late a lot of these side characters. I think starting with Suraj maybe.
Yeah.
They've been these typically comedic actors giving them serious roles has been a trend, and they've all been doing well. And Indians obviously home in Mumbai endelum cheyidirunno. I don't remember.
He had done a very serious movie and the പേര് എന്നാ എനിക്ക് ഇപ്പോ ഓർമ്മ കിട്ടുന്നില്ല.
പേരറിയാത്തവർ I think.
Something like that, no?
I think so.
അത് ഞാൻ കണ്ടിട്ടില്ല.
എനിക്ക് പേരറിയില്ല എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞപ്പോ you are like പേരറിയാത്തതാണോ എന്ന് ചോദിച്ചത്.
I think that's the movie he got Kerala State Award.
State Award എന്തോ കിട്ടിയിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു ഒരു പടത്തിന്.
Okay. So yeah, അത് എന്താ പറയണേ, അങ്ങനത്തെ I think he's been very consistent. അങ്ങനത്തെ ഒരു ഇത് വെച്ച് നോക്കുമ്പോൾ he's been doing good roles, good character, like and doing it well as well. ഇതില് I quite liked it. The reason why I remember Tovino and Indrans from this film is because convincingly ഒരു റിലേഷൻഷിപ്പ് എനിക്ക് അവര് തമ്മിൽ മാത്രമേ കണ്ടിട്ടുള്ളൂ. ബാക്കി ഏത് സ്ട്രാൻഡ് എടുത്താലും they all felt a little like, എനിക്ക് ഈ കഥാപാത്രങ്ങളെ കുറിച്ച് കാര്യമായിട്ടൊന്നും അറിയില്ല. For example, Aparna Balamurali and her family. I have no investment in the fact that her mom is sick.
That's true.
Like എനിക്ക് അത് ഒരിക്കലും ഒരു ഇമോഷണലി അത് കൺവേ ആയിട്ടില്ലായിരുന്നു. സോ പുള്ളിക്കാരത്തി ഇതിന്റെ ഇടയിൽ ഹോസ്പിറ്റലിൽ നിന്ന് like it felt like even she was not like all she was doing in the hospital is that പുള്ളിക്കാരത്തി TV കണ്ടോണ്ടിരിക്കുക.
I didn't understand Aparna Balamurali's character. So out of the main storyline, or at least the main characters they focus on, I think the worst was of course I hated the most Vineet Srinivasan and his wife scene. I don't understand what was happening. I don't know why they were important. I don't know why they were there in the movie. Like the movie would have worked just as well without them in the movie. Like our storyline illayirunengil they would have made zero difference. So I don't know what is happening there. I think they're trying to show that ingane adversity calamity varumbo avaru thirichu onnikkuvaano, because we don't even know anything that's happening. We don't know why they're fighting. The wife is fully pissed off at him all the time, doesn't even want to talk to him on the phone, but he's missing for maybe a few hours, and then she's like, oh njan etra nere vilikunu, I don't know, and then suddenly they're together or they're smiling at each other and happy about it. I don't know.
I have to disagree with you. The worst storyline is Arju Varghese and the Saibs.
Aju Varghese and Saib.
What? Aju Varghese was in this film? Where was he?
Aju Varghese and the white guys. White actors.
എടാ അവനല്ലേ ക്യാബ് ഡ്രൈവർ എന്നിട്ട് ഇങ്ങനെ.
Oh shit, yes. Oh god.
That has to be the worst.
Yeah, that was quite bad.
So I don't know how they select these white actors.
I know.
അയാൾ എന്തോ ഓവറായിരുന്നു.
Most over the top white actors.
Yeah.
And also, I mean,
guy who was acting, Karimin Pollichadu, I like.
But I think the only scene I liked is avare pidiyula.
മറ്റേ തേങ്ങാപ്പാല് പിഴിഞ്ഞെടുക്കുന്നത്.
That was funny. Other than that, it is.
No, and also like, can we please give cab drivers like, of course, cab drivers are not the best people on the earth, but can we give them a little bit of credit that they would know if something like this was happening?
Yeah,
right.
He had zero idea. Like it's raining cats and dogs, and he doesn't know if the Varlangali is happening. He doesn't know up to a homestay ittilla. I mean,
dude is just going to 5 districts and finding out that, oh shit, this doesn't work.
Yeah. ഇത് ഫോൺ ആയിട്ടൊന്നും ഇല്ലാത്ത കാലൊന്നും അല്ലല്ലോ. ഇയാൾക്ക് ഒന്നുമില്ലെങ്കിൽ കുറച്ച് കോൺടാക്ട്സ് എങ്കിലും ഉണ്ടാവില്ല എവിടെയെങ്കിലും ഒക്കെ.
Exactly, right. അതും ഇയാൾ സ്ഥിരം ലോങ് ഓടുന്ന ടാക്സിയാ.
I think the idea was to have some comedic storyline.
എങ്ങനെ വേണ്ടായിരുന്നു, ഒരുമാതിരി ടോർച്ചർ ആയി പോയി.
ഇത് മോശമായിരുന്നു. And also I didn't really like മറ്റേ തമിഴന്റെ സ്റ്റോറി ലൈൻ. That was also not really.
I think the only two worthwhile storylines are the fisherman and the Tovinos.
Fisherman, my problem is now if we talk about the main characters, I think of course, Tovino as an actor, I think he's grown quite a bit. He's got quite a bit of potential. Sometimes he does similar things, but he's a very likable actor. I feel like anybody who sees him on screen, he has that likable charm. He has that innocence. Like he's probably one of those actors that we have. ശരിക്കും ഒരു ബോഡി ബിൽഡ് ചെയ്ത ഒരു ആക്ടർ, ഒരു മെയിൻ സ്ട്രീം ആക്ടർ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ടൊവിനോ ആയിരിക്കാം. പക്ഷേ when he's doing a role like this, sure, he's back from the army and stuff like that, you don't feel, I mean, sometimes I felt like people who have a lot of ഇങ്ങനെ ബോഡി ബിൽഡ് ചെയ്ത ആൾക്കാർക്ക് ചില റോൾസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ല എന്ന് എനിക്ക് തോന്നാറുണ്ട്. ലൈക്ക് ഐ കാൻ ഇമാജിൻ ദം ഡൂയിങ് ലൈക്ക് പാവം സാധാ നാട്ടുകാരൻ. But Tovino is not like that. Like he was convincing as this person who's like, പേടിയുള്ള ഒരാളാണ്, അവിടെ പോയിട്ട് പട്ടാളത്ത് പോയി ശരിയായില്ല, തിരിച്ചു വന്നു, he's scared, and I think he's really great at this slight small comedy elements that he can bring on, stuff like that. I think he's nice. Like he's definitely one of the leading men today, and I think he did a good job with his role. But having said that, Asif Ali obviously comes with a lot of restrictions. He knows he's not the best of actors out there. He knows he can't do beyond a point. And I didn't really like him that much in this role. He was like, I mean, not a good son at all or whatever, not good for the family kind of character. But I would like, I mean, that's how he was tried to, he was portrayed. But talking about his character, was it really wrong that he wants to do his own thing? He wants to do his own modeling. He's making money from his modeling. Is that really a bad thing?
I don't think so. But I think his character, they characterized him in a negative shade so that this will work. But if he was a normal guy, I don't think it is bad.
Yeah, but my problem also with some of these storylines was like, പെട്ടെന്ന് എല്ലാം മാറുന്നേ. അതായത് because obviously the movie's main intent or focus is to kind of show the calamity and everything, which is what it focused on, sure. But the fact that they chose to go with so many storylines, ഈ ആസിഫ് അലിയുടെ കഥ തന്നെ എടുക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ അവൻ പെട്ടെന്ന് അവിടെ പോയി കൊച്ചി പോയി തിരിച്ചു വന്നിട്ട് he became a good guy immediately. Same way Tamil also dropped എന്താ പറയാ Vineet Srinivasan somewhere. He heard him talk on the phone and then suddenly he's calling his mom and like, അമ്മേ നിങ്ങൾ കഴിച്ചോ ഇല്ലയോ, നിങ്ങൾ ഓക്കെ ആണോ? And that didn't really, I mean, I couldn't buy it. Like that switch is not that immediate, right? So that I felt was not really great. പിന്നെ കുഞ്ചാക്കോ ബോബൻ ഉണ്ട് ഗൈസ്.
കുഞ്ചാക്കോ ബോബൻ storyline also
was okay. I mean, storyline was fine, but
I think that scene where he sees his house,
that
was good, but
it was pretty effective. But I don't think so my issue with his character is that it could have been somebody else and it would have just been the same. Like I don't think you needed Kunjako Boban in that role. Like he didn't really deliver അത്രയ്ക്ക് എന്തെങ്കിലും അതിന് മാത്രമൊന്നും ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നില്ല, I felt. പിന്നെ ആരാള്ള, പിന്നെ ലാലുണ്ട്, നരേനുണ്ട്. ലാൽ വാസ് സ്റ്റിൽ ഓക്കെ. പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ ലാല് പറയുന്നത് മനസ്സിലാവണമെങ്കിൽ ഇച്ചിരി ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുണ്ടെന്നുള്ളൂ, അല്ലാതെ പ്രശ്നമില്ല. ഇങ്ങനെ കൊഴകൊഴാന്ന് പറയണം, ഒന്നും മനസ്സിലാവില്ല പകുതിയും. ബട്ട് ഹി ഹാസ് പ്രസൻസ് ഉണ്ട്, ദാറ്റ്സ് ദ മെയിൻ തിങ് ഐ സപ്പോസ്. നരേൻ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു, നരേനിലായിരുന്നു. I mean, Naren has his own limitations. I don't know why Naren was chosen for the role, but okay, fine. He did an okay job.
No, but I really want to know what my man is eating. Like, do you remember Naren from the previous films?
Classmates.
Yeah,
Not Classmates.
and
You remember his first movie, Achunde Amma? I think that's when
and now he's just one hunk, dude. He's so huge.
Yeah. It's also probably age and cholesterol, man.
But I think this is the movie he's acting after a long time, right? Malayalam.
No, he's been doing a bunch of side roles, no?
No. Tamil, I've seen him. Malayalam,
oh yeah, that's what I mean.
See, I can't remember a movie. Like, I don't remember a movie and I'm like, idil Naren undairunnu, Naren idile. I can only think of Classmates. Ee parana പോലെ Achunde Amma, okay, that point of time, and now this. അതാ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു, വിക്രമിലൊക്കെ അവൻ ഉണ്ട്, പക്ഷെ എനിക്ക് അത്ര ഓർമ്മ പോലും ഇല്ല, മനസ്സിലായില്ലേ?
അയാളും ഞാനും തമ്മിൽ,
okay, maybe one of those movies, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's not that actor who sticks out and he creates an impression in your mind. He's not that guy. But he's okay. He does an okay job. He's not a bad actor. He's okay. Like he has restrictions. He's okay. I'll tell you who else I didn't like and who I had an issue with. The actress who played Naren's wife, Nileen Sandra is her name. She actually has a really nice sequence in the movie. That is that scene where അവർ ആസിഫ് അലിക്ക് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് പെണ്ണ് കാണാൻ പോയി അവിടുന്ന് അവർ ഇൻസൾട്ടഡ് ആയിട്ട് തിരിച്ചു വന്നു and then she is kind of trying to pick up the morale and tell these people how she's come into this family and it's great and whatnot. That's actually a really strong scene, which given to given to a capable actor, I think would have made a lot of difference. Her acting was not good at all there. Like she was, I don't know, she was all over the place. She was not, I don't know if she was dubbing. I don't know if that's her own voice. Maybe that could be a probable issue. But I am saying ഇവർ ഇത്രയും ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്ത് ഇത്രയും ഓൺസോമ്പിൾ കാസ്റ്റിനെ ഇറക്കി ഈ ഒരു റോളിന് വേണ്ടി ഇവർക്ക് ഒരു നല്ലൊരു ആരും കിട്ടിയില്ലേ.
ഈ പെണ്ണെ വേറെ എവിടെയും കണ്ടിട്ടില്ല.
I think she's in like a bunch of short films or something like that. I tried to look her up, but I didn't really see anything substantial that she's been in. I think other than that, I think we've covered most of the things. Probably we can talk a little bit about. So I felt there are three main people who have worked on this movie and who deserve some sort of a shout out. First one is Mohan Das, is his name. He's the production designer for the whole movie. And I think the sets were great. I'm sure he had a nightmare working on the set. So apparently he had to make live models, other the miniature models of the set that he was creating and show it to the director before it got approved. And he made more than 40 sets, before stuff could get approved. And then he had to oversee that actually and stuff like that. I think that was quite good. I think in terms of production design and quality and art direction, basically was really great. But he's also a well-known guy in this field, I suppose, because the other movies he's done is all high-stakes stuff like Lucifer and stuff like that. He's also doing the next Lucifer movie that's coming in Quran. So I think production design was really nice. Chaman Chako is the editor of the movie. I think editing was also a big part of the movie, which makes it feel like, if it has to endure, I mean, I do fear induce sequences, I think editing has to be great. I think a lot of movies may have substantial script, may have substantial direction, but when it comes to the editing table, I feel it becomes great. I think if this movie didn't have good editing, it would have been a problem. Another interesting movie that this guy has done is Kala. Kala, I don't know if it's called Kala. Yeah.
Kala, I think, yeah.
Kala
was amazing. I liked it.
Yeah, Kala was a very different kind of movie. Pillai, have you seen this movie?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, you should probably give it a try. Very different kind of movie, very different storyline, I think. Not much to it, but അതിന്റെ എഡിറ്റിംഗ് ഭയങ്കര നല്ലതാണ്. അതിന്റെ that movie is all about the editing, I feel. കുറേയൊക്കെ sequences, I think. So that was great. പിന്നെ mainly Joseph Anthony ആണ് director. So did you guys know he's directed only 4 movies including 2018?
Yeah, not many.
Yeah. But he's there in a lot of other movies as the side character actor ആയിട്ട് കുറേ ഉണ്ട്. അതുകൊണ്ട് I feel like he's always in the picture. Like we always remember him as a person.
I think he's best doing directing. His acting is not that great.
Yeah, definitely not. But even with his direction, 2018 obviously his best movie of the 4 movies he's made. His first movie was Om Shanti Oshana. That I remember when it came out was a nice movie. Like I enjoyed watching it at that point of time. But it obviously hasn't aged really well, like a lot of movies from that time. When I saw it recently, I didn't think it was really that great, but had a lot of light moments, comical elements. That was fine. His second movie was Oru Muttashi Gada. I didn't like that movie. I don't know, it was whatever. I felt it was mixed. And his third movie was Saras, the one with Sunny Wayne and Annabelle. So that was also okay. I mean, it was not. I mean, it was okay. It was like but was it wow? Yeah, this is great. I don't know. But did he I mean, for him to really show his directorial prowess, I think this movie he kind of proved that he is a skilled director.
Yeah, for sure. I think we missed speaking about one set of characters, which
is it the ending Sudish's character?
Yeah. That's the one I was going to say.
Sudesh and that kid. I think that kid
Yeah,
also.
yeah. That's the part that disturbed me the most in the whole thing.
Yeah, man. ആ
Uh,
കൊച്ചിന്റെ കരച്ചില് ഭയങ്കര ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടാട്ടോ കേൾക്കാൻ. Especially in
yeah.
theater. And it's very haunting actually.
I think Sudesh is also.
Yeah, Sudesh is a good actor. I think he's been there in the industry forever. I think first movie I remember properly Sudesh Manichitata and Kindi. But he's come a long way from that, and I think he's trying to do good character roles, and he has that acumen for sure. I think that storyline was also fine. I mean, it was nice. I mean, it was a good this thing altogether. Did we miss anything else?
Yes. So the thing with the film, right, which is that it will have no bad characters. എല്ലാരും നല്ലവരാണ്. Villain here is the element itself, right? എലിമെന്റ്സിനെതിരെയുള്ള ഒരു പോരാട്ടമാണല്ലോ. അപ്പോൾ ഹ്യൂമൻ ബീങ്സ് ഓൾ ഹാവ് ടു ബി ഗുഡ്. ബട്ട് അതിന്റെ ഇടയിൽ they for some reason put one bad guy. Right? The guy who forgets, yeah, the guy who forgets Indran's and
Not forgets. In fact, he leaves him there, and I was like, "What a!" I mean, it's
yeah,
not
and
like
that
there was
auto,
space in their Vandi.
that auto had a lot of space.
Yeah.
It was a repeat of Titanic, right? Like that, especially somebody as big as Indran's, who could definitely have fit in there.
Yeah, that's true. But towards the end,
Uh,
he's also like, "Oh, and aniyane കാണുന്നില്ല," some stuff like that, and then കരച്ചില് പിഴിച്ചില്, I don't know.
Yeah, and that scene, right? Do people not realize that you cannot hear a cell phone through a landslide cover aya weed? It was raining, right? And you're covered with God knows how many feet of mud. What were they trying to go for there? എനിക്കത് മനസ്സിലായില്ല. I mean, of course, അതൊരു redemption കൊടുക്കാനുള്ള attempt ആണെന്ന്, yeah, that's clear.
Yeah.
But in terms of how you write that, right? അങ്ങനത്തെ so basically, I think ഈ ഒരു സിനിമയുടെ biggest problem was screenwriting. Like ഇത് ഓവറോൾ ഇതിനൊരു കഥയൊക്കെ ഉണ്ട്. ഇതാണ് നമ്മൾ ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്ന കഥ. പക്ഷെ അതെങ്ങനെ ഓരോ സീനായിട്ട് എഴുതിയെടുക്കുക, ഐ തിങ്ക് ദാറ്റ് വാസ് ഇറ്റ്സ് വീക്കസ്റ്റ് എലിമെന്റ്, റൈറ്റ്? അത് ഭയങ്കര വീക്ക് സ്ക്രിപ്റ്റിംഗ് ആയിരുന്നു.
I agree with you. I feel like ഇതിന്റെ പ്രശ്നം എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ഈ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ നമ്മൾ I think we spoke about this in the beginning also. They tried to fit in too many storylines into this one particular thing and tried to show like all the different elements of rescue which is possible, right? And that is what its failure is also, wherein because of that, see, this is not a series. Imagine this was made as a series. I think it would have been great because they could have given more depth to all the storylines, all the characters, and made us more invested in it, right? But since this is not a series and this is a movie that they are making, they should have probably been a little bit more mindful about that and tried to make it a little more crisp in that sense. That is I also felt that ആ ഒരു ആസ്പെക്ട് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു അതിൽ. പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ എന്താ പറയാ, ഡെപ്ത് ഇല്ല ചില ക്യാരക്ടേഴ്സിന്, ചില സ്റ്റോറി ലൈൻസ് റാപ്പിംഗ് അപ്പ് ടു ക്വിക്ലി. ഓൾ ദീസ് ആർ ഓൾസോ ഇതിന്റെ ഈ ഒരു കാരണവശാലാണ് ഇതൊക്കെ സംഭവിക്കുന്നത്. സോ that is true. But landslides, bro, what a scary thing. Can you imagine? Like,
Yeah, I think,
more than the flood, I was more scared of the landslides.
correct.
This is ridiculous. Like, അതിന്റെ ഉള്ളിലൊക്കെ എങ്ങനെ എന്താ അത് നിൽക്കുന്ന, being crushed to death is such a, I don't know, man. It's a dark thought.
It's quite messed up.
Yeah, I think we've covered pretty much everything. So, what's the final take, guys? What do you think about 2018?
I would say it's a decent movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe we didn't talk about the ending. So, what do you guys think about the ending? Rovino Marikina. Do you really think maybe?
I mean, I after one point it was pretty obvious that he was going to die because they were trying to get us too invested in his story, and they were trying to get us too emotionally attached to him and trying to show that Nanma and everything. So obviously, I mean, of course, there are a lot of people who actually did a lot of good during these times and who actually lost their lives. I think that's what their intent was. Their intent was to show that ഇങ്ങനത്തെ കുറെ സെൽഫ്ലെസ് ആൾക്കാരുണ്ട് ആ രീതിയിൽ. ഐ ന്യൂ ബട്ട് the way it was going, I did think I knew he was going to be killed off as a character, and I was okay with it. I mean, I was fine. It was required for the movie to create that emotional aspect, I guess. Like, closing thoughts.
Did I like the film? Yeah, I didn't mind it because I think Malayalam I hadn't seen anything like it before. I wish the script was tighter, but I don't think that was the intent of the film. I think clearly all the effort went into making it a spectacle, in which they succeeded. Does that make it? Does that excuse it? I don't think so. Pakshe, did I enjoy it? Yeah, I did. I think as a theater watch, it was good.
Critic Pillai in the house, guys.
You saw in theater.
Yeah, I saw it in theater.
Oh, okay.
Nikhil, I think I was the one who told you not to watch it in the theater.
Yeah, I asked you theater watch OTT kanda.
Oh, if I watched it on OTT, I would not have liked it at all.
Because I'll tell you what, my initial thoughts are also the same. Like I saw it in the theater, of course. But see, I don't know if the effects, like when we're talking about effects, I'm thinking like my mind is going for VFX effects. ആ ഒരു എഫക്റ്റ് വെച്ച് നോക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ അതിന് മാത്രം കാണാനൊന്നുമില്ല. പക്ഷേ പ്രാക്ടിക്കലി ദേ ഹവ് ഡൺ എ ലോട്ട് ഓഫ് തിങ്സ് വിച്ച് ഇസ് അപ്രീഷ്യബിൾ. സോ അങ്ങനെ വെച്ച് നോക്കുമ്പോൾ ഐ മീൻ സി ടോക്കിംഗ് അബൌട്ട് ദ മ്യൂസിക് aspect of it, like see, music I think is one of the biggest factors when we go to the theater. Like നല്ലൊരു മ്യൂസിക് ഉള്ള പടം, നല്ലൊരു ബാക്ക്ഗ്രൗണ്ട് സ്കോർ ഉള്ള പടം നമ്മൾ കാണുമ്പോൾ it makes a lot of difference. Did I think the music in this movie was great? Not really. It was just normal substandard stuff. I mean,
The sound effects were great.
yeah, I mean, like it's
They're
like
not-
നല്ല കാര്യം നടക്കുമ്പോൾ നല്ല മാസ് മ്യൂസിക് വരും, അല്ലാത്ത സമയത്ത് സാഡ് മ്യൂസിക്. I mean, it was nothing. It was nothing exceptional, I felt.
Yeah, there was no distinct background music or something which could.
Yeah. അങ്ങനെയൊന്നും എനിക്ക് തോന്നിയില്ല. സോ ഞാൻ ആ ഒരു ആസ്പെക്ട് വെച്ചിട്ടാണ് നിന്നോട് അന്ന് പറഞ്ഞത് ദാറ്റ് പ്രോബബ്ലി നോട്ട് ഓക്കെ. ഐ മീൻ ഐ വുഡ് ഹവ് ബീൻ ലൈക്ക് ഓക്കെ, തിയേറ്ററിൽ കണ്ടില്ലെങ്കിലും കുഴപ്പമില്ല എന്നുള്ള രീതിയിൽ അന്ന് പറഞ്ഞേ. ബട്ട് ഐ മീൻ
ഞാൻ ടി വിയിൽ കണ്ടപ്പോഴും ലൈക്ക് ഫസ്റ്റ് ടൈം when I watched, not the second time, റീവാച്ച് ചെയ്തപ്പോൾ I didn't feel അത്രയും like, I think first time when you watch it's still good movie. Like you said, effects. I think initially I didn't like it, but later on,
yeah, I definitely picked up, I think.
Initially, I was very. I thought like why people are liking this movie. So, I felt like like.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that was my issue with it, and that is why I told you not to go to the theater to it also was because ഞാൻ ഈ സിനിമ കാണുമ്പോഴേക്കും ഇതൊരു ഹൈപ്പായി മാറി കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇത് ഞാൻ വന്ന സമയത്തല്ല കണ്ടേ. ഞാൻ ഈ സിനിമ കാണാൻ പോകുന്നത് പീപ്പിൾ ആർ ലൈക്ക് 2018 കണ്ടോ കണ്ടില്ലേ, ഇത് എന്തായാലും കാണേണ്ട പടം. അപ്പൊ ഞാനൊരു ഒരു ഹൈപ്പ് മൈൻഡ് സെറ്റിലാണ് ഈ പടം കാണാൻ പോയത്. അപ്പൊ ഒരു ഹൈപ്പ് മൈൻഡ് സെറ്റിൽ ഞാൻ കണ്ടപ്പോൾ ഇറ്റ് വാസ് നോട്ട് ദാറ്റ് ഇംപ്രസീവ് ടു മീ. ലൈക്ക് at the end of it, when I'm coming down to it, bottom line, yes, it was a good movie. I think we are all people who, I mean, at least the three of us are people who genuinely appreciate technical prowess and technical skill set that has gone into the making of this movie. And I really love looking at technical aspects of movies, like let's say single shot scenes, the kind of effort that goes into stuff like that. I mean, just an example. So ഞാൻ അങ്ങനത്തെ കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ genuinely appreciate ചെയ്യുന്ന ഒരാളാണ്. So അങ്ങനെ വെച്ച് നോക്കിയപ്പോൾ I genuinely feel this is a movie that you should watch. You shouldn't miss it because of all those things. Does it have its flaws? Definitely, it has quite a bit of flaws. But was it not an enjoyable movie? Definitely, yes, it is an enjoyable movie. I mean, it is something you should watch. It does justify the kind of money that it has at the end of the day collected. And I think because of that, congrats to the whole team. And I think, great. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I think we've been talking about this for quite some time. And I'm very happy that we were actually able to record one session. And I hope we will be able to record many, many more. And we'll be able to do more interesting things with movies and, the kind of stuff that comes out. So thank you to all the listeners, if at all there are any. Thank you for taking out the time, and we hope to catch you again soon sometime.